Guys, recently Nulswap announced a new feature that could heat things up a bit on the platform. Hello everyone, I'm Vinicius Ferrero, and in today's video, I'm here to bring you another update about the NULS ecosystem, specifically regarding Nulswap. For those who don't know, Nulswap is a DeFi platform created on the NULS blockchain. It's a fairly new platform, so they are working hard to increase the number of tools inside and grow their user base. Recently, through their official Twitter profile, they announced that they reached over 1 million NULS staked within their derivative staking tool on the platform. In addition, they also burned 275,000 swap tokens, which is the platform's token. But what caught my attention the most in these recent updates was the next platform feature, which is essentially decentralized lending using ENULS. But don't worry, you'll understand it better soon, so let's get into it. First, they didn't provide a release date for this new platform feature, and second, they didn't give out many details. They only shared an article on Medium explaining roughly how it would work. Another point is that they're not reinventing the wheel. Essentially, this is a feature that already exists on other blockchain networks. They are just creating their own version, bringing functions that already work on other networks into the NULS ecosystem. Some of you watching this video might wonder, Vinicius, how does this work, and why would I use this lending function? Well guys, this is the Medium article I mentioned earlier. I'll leave the link in the description. Here, we have information that it's an opportunity for ENULS holders. I'll explain what that is in a moment. It provides continuous access to liquidity for these people without them having to part with their valuable tokens. What does this mean? ENULS, guys, is basically a derivative of the NULS token that's staked. In other words, you stake your NULS on the Nulswap platform, and it gives you a derivative token called ENULS, which you can use on other platforms or even in this lending function. But what did the article mean by having liquidity without giving up the tokens? It would work like this. Suppose you have ENULS tokens in your wallet. You could take those tokens, put them into the lending contract, and after locking those tokens in the lending contract, you'd receive a balance in another currency, which I believe is NULS to use as you wish. So essentially, you would still have access to the ENULS tokens in that new contract, and these tokens are essentially the same NULS that are staked, generating passive income. In other words, you didn't give up your passive income and obtain liquidity in NULS to use as you see fit. The liquidity you get to use, probably in the NULS cryptocurrency, won't have the same proportion as the ENULS you locked to get that liquidity. I believe there might also be a fee involved in taking out this loan, and maybe some pools for those who want to lend to these people. But looking at a hypothetical and practical situation, consider this. Let's say you're a NULS investor, and you have a significant amount of NULS staked. Alongside that, you also have those derivative tokens called ENULS. Suddenly, you come across a great investment opportunity. Suppose you've been whitelisted and are going to buy a token or NFT at a very low price early on. You want to buy that token, but all your capital is locked in the NULS stake. In the traditional way, you would need to unstake your NULS and sell them to have funds to invest in the other project you found. This way, you'd lose both the NULS yield and even your exposure to the NULS cryptocurrency, as you'd have to sell a portion. On the other hand, with the lending system, you could keep your position in the NULS stake, meaning you'd maintain passive income and exposure to the NULS token. At the same time, you could obtain funds to temporarily invest in that project. You could put your ENULS, the derivative token, into the lending contract. Borrow an amount while leaving your ENULS as collateral, invest in that project you had the opportunity to buy at a good price, and after making a profit from that trade, you could bring it back by releasing your NULS. In other words, you did all of this while keeping your NULS stake. So you can consider this function as an opportunity for greater liquidity to expand your investments, and also as a way to leverage your capital a bit. So, everything you do must take into consideration your risk management, making sure whether it's worth it or not at that moment. Now, another practical example for you which might work for me as well. Personally, I have some NULS staked, holding them and enjoying the passive income. I'm also participating in a whitelist lottery for land sales on the Sandbox platform. Let's suppose I win this whitelist and have the opportunity to buy land at a price well below the current market price. What could I do if this function were already operational? Instead of selling my NULS to buy the land, I could keep my stake, take my ENULS, which is the derivative token, put it in the lending contract, borrow some funds, purchase the land, and after completing the land purchase, sell that land on the market, essentially making a trade. After making some profit with this operation, I would simply take a portion of what I earned from that land, return it to the lending contract, repay everything I borrowed, and recover my NULS. In other words, I did all of this and still kept my NULS stake. Well, I know it might seem a bit confusing right now, but when this feature is released, we'll take a practical look at it. Personally, I found this announcement to be very positive for the NULS ecosystem, especially for the Nulswap ecosystem, because in addition to bringing greater dynamism to the entire ecosystem, considering that people will have more disposable funds to move and invest in specific projects, it is also another new tool within the ecosystem. This could potentially attract new users as well. But what about you? Please answer in the comments. Do you think this is a positive update for the ecosystem? Would you use this function? Comment below, I want to know. Well, that's all for today, and the content was basically this. Let's wait for the next updates that I'll bring to you. And don't forget to make a 100% free investment in your future, which is simply by liking this video and subscribing to this channel so you don't miss the upcoming content. So now I'm going to end it here. Thank you very much for your audience, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.